Welcome to Spectrum News Hour 4, coming to you live from Oyo. My name is Ofonono Joseph. Let's take a look at the top stories. Presidency says U.S. to provide intelligence support, defense equipment to Nigeria. Atiku officially joins ADC, registers with party in Adamawa Plus. UK, Canada, Australia unveil campaign to tackle visa fraud. Stay tuned for details of these stories and more after this timeout. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on the news this hour. We begin this afternoon from the national scene, where President Bola Tinubu has reiterated his administration's commitment in tackling insecurity in the country, saying he will not relent until all Nigerians are protected. Tinubu, in a statement via his official X handle, said Nigeria would be secured under his watch, adding that every citizen deserves the right to be safe in any state of the Federation. Tinubu recalled that he shelved his trip to the Group of 20 summit slated for Saturday, November 22 and Sunday, November 23 at the Johannesburg Expo Center in South Africa. In the meantime, President Bola Tinubu has announced the rescue of all 38 worshippers abducted from the Christ Apostolic Church, CAC, Eruku, in the Ekiti local government area of Kwara State, reaffirming his administration's commitment to securing every Nigerian across the country. In a post on his verified X handle, the president said the development followed days of coordinated operations by security agencies, which he had personally supervised after cancelling his scheduled trip to the G20 summit in Johannesburg, South Africa. The president also confirmed the recovery of 51 of the students abducted from a Catholic school in Niger State, noting that he continues to monitor nationwide security developments through constant updates from operational commanders in the field. Expressing determination to sustain the pressure on criminal elements, President Tinubu assured citizens of his unwavering resolve to protect lives and restore stability. The president commended the security forces for their efforts and pledged that the government would continue to strengthen intelligence, response capabilities, and interagency coordination in the ongoing fight against banditry, terrorism, and other threats. Meanwhile, the presidency says the United States government has affirmed its readiness to deepen security cooperation with Nigeria, including the provision of enhanced intelligence support, defense equipment, and articles to reinforce ongoing operations against terrorist and violent extremist groups in the country. This follows discussions and engagements held last week between a high-level Nigerian delegation and U.S. officials aimed at strengthening security partnerships between the two countries and opening new avenues for cooperation. The delegation, led by the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, had met with senior officials across the U.S. Congress, the White House Faith Office, the State Department, the National Security Council of War. Members of the delegation included the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, Chief of Defense Staff, General Olufemi Oluyede, Chief of Defense Intelligence, Lieutenant General Emmanuel Odiendeye, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, and two representatives of the Office of the National Security Advisor. Away from that, Vice President Kashim Shettima has departed Johannesburg for Luanda to represent President Bola Tinubu at the AU-EU summit scheduled to hold in Angola. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Communications, Office of the Vice President, Stanley Nkwocha, disclosed this in a statement released in Abuja. According to him, the meeting is scheduled to take place from today to Wednesday in Luanda, the capital of Angola. In a separate development, the Federal Capital Territory Administration says over 8,000 civil servants would write their computer-based test promotion examinations from Tuesday, November 25, 2025. Disclosing these in a statement on Sunday, the chairman of the FCT Civil Service Commission, Emeka Eze, said the exam would be for staff across 165 different cadres in the administration and the Federal Capital Development Authority. According to Eze, the exams will run for 5 days, ending on Sunday. Meanwhile, more than 8,000 civil servants in the Federal Capital Territory Administration will sit promotion examinations this week. Recall that on August 26, 2025, the Senior Special Assistant to the Federal Capital Territory Minister on Public Communication and News Media, Lere Olayinka, announced the release of results from the first ever computer-based promotion examination conducted on August 12, 2025. In the meantime, the federal government has said the 25-kilometer access road linking Lekki Deep Seaport to Ekpe and Ijebu-Ode will be completed within its 21-month schedule. The government described the project as highly viable and fully on course. The Minister of Works, Senator Dave Umahi, gave the assurance during an inspection of the road project in Lagos. Umahi expressed confidence in the capacity and track record of the contractor handling the project. He said that the contractor won the contract through a competitive bidding process, citing its construction of the Lekki Deep Seaport, Kefi Makurdi Superhighway, and the ongoing Makurdi Enugu Road. On judicial matters, Justice Mohammed Umar of the Federal High Court in Abuja has adjourned the trial of Senator Natasha Akpotiuduaghan for alleged cybercrime until February 4, 2026 for the commencement of trial. The matter, which was fixed for Monday by Justice Mohammed Umar, could not proceed due to the judge's absence. The matter also did not hold on October 21 due to the protest organized by activist Omoyele Sowore to demand the release of Nnamdi Kanu, who was recently convicted on terrorism offenses. Justice Umar had on September 22 fixed October 21 for the hearing after the trial was stalled owing to an objection raised by the defendant. Akpotiuduaghan was arraigned on June 30 on a 6-count charge filed by the Director of Public Prosecution of the Federation, DPPF, Mohammed Abubakar. Talking politics, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has officially registered as a member of the African Democratic Congress in Adamawa State, signaling a major development in Nigeria's opposition politics ahead of the 2027 general elections. The registration took place today following Atiku's announcement to ADC supporters and stakeholders in Adamawa over the weekend. Abdul Rashid, an aide to the former vice president, had confirmed the development in a statement obtained by reporters. Videos and photos from the event showed Atiku's convoy arriving in the town to the cheers of supporters who beat drums, sang, and carried placards with his image. Elsewhere, the Bauchi state government has announced the immediate closure of all schools across the state following heightened security concerns. The directive affects all primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions, including federal government-owned and private schools operating within the state. The announcement was contained in a statement issued by the Information and Public Relations Officer of the State Ministry of Education, Jalaluddin Usman. According to him, the decision was reached after extensive consultations and in response to what he described as overwhelming security concerns affecting the safety of students, teachers, and school communities across the state. We move now to Africa, where Catholic Pope Leo has called for the immediate release of students and priests kidnapped in recent days in Nigeria and Cameroon. Speaking in St. Peter's Square yesterday, the Pope said he had learned with immense sadness the news of the kidnappings of priests, faithful, and students. He appealed for their immediate release, calling on the competent authorities to take appropriate and timely decisions to secure their liberation. The Pope therefore urged everyone to pray that churches, schools might never be the target of violence. Still in Africa, with the strike of the symbolic gavel, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has closed the first G20 summit to be held on the African continent. The gathering broke with tradition by issuing a leader's declaration on the opening day of talks, despite fierce opposition from the United States. Ramaphosa said the declaration from the summit reflects a renewed commitment to multilateral cooperation. In his closing speech, Ramaphosa noted that the summit had taken place at a crucial time as calls around the world grew louder for progress on the imperatives of today. He added that the declaration showed that their shared goals outweigh their differences, and it is a commitment for concrete actions to improve the lives of people all over the world. On the foreign scene, the diplomatic missions of the United Kingdom, Canada, and Australia have jointly launched a new international initiative aimed at combating visa fraud. The missions warned that increasingly sophisticated criminal networks are exploiting vulnerable individuals seeking legitimate travel, study, or work opportunities. According to a joint statement issued today, the initiative builds on the outcomes of the five-country ministerial and reflects a shared commitment to tackling a global problem that costs victims millions of dollars each year and exposes them to serious risks. Still on the foreign scene, Israel's military has reportedly killed a senior member of the militant group Hezbollah in an airstrike on the southern suburbs of the Lebanese capital, Beirut, despite a ceasefire. Lebanon's health ministry said at least 5 people were reportedly killed and 28 others wounded in the strike, which hit an apartment building in the densely populated Dahir district. Hezbollah confirmed Dabtabi's death, adding that Israel had crossed a red line in carrying out the strike. Still to come in the news. Bellingham rescues Real Madrid as they reclaim top spot. Stay tuned as we continue on the rest of our news stories after the short break. Glad to have you back. Now let's conclude on the rest of our news stories. On our business news, in a bid to reduce carbon emissions to the barest minimum in the nation's maritime sector, the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, has showcased a pioneering public-private partnership model for African maritime decarbonization with the establishment of the Nigerian Maritime Continuous Emissions Monitoring System at the 2025 UN Framework Convention on Climate Change in Belém, Brazil. According to a statement by the Deputy Director and Head Public Relations at NIMASA, Osage Edward, the agency made the presentation on the sidelines of the conference at an event it hosted. The statement added that the event highlighted Nigeria's commitment to advancing the International Maritime Organization's energy transition strategies through digital innovations. Speaking at the event, the Director General of NIMASA, Dr. Dayo Mobioriola, said that the agency has been consistent in its efforts for energy transition in the maritime industry in Nigeria, which has led to the Pioneer Initiative. Still in business, the federal government has dug out more than 60 billion naira linked to 28 financial irregularities in the operations of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. A breakdown of the transactions published in the Auditor General's 2022 Annual Report on Non-Compliance Volume 2 listed the undocumented questionable payments involving 30.1 billion naira, $51.6 million, 14.3 million pounds, and 5.17 million euros. The total amounts to about 61.1 billion naira when converted to naira. The report accuses NNPC Limited of unauthorized environments, tax infractions, irregular procurement, abandoned projects, weak internal controls, and unsubstantiated settlements. The report has been transmitted to the National Assembly. According to the audit, a total of 14,322,420 pounds and 59 pence was spent by the Foreign Office during the period under review, covering personnel costs, fixed contract expenses, and other operational needs. We move now to health, where Nigeria is leading Africa in reported diphtheria cases with 8,587 confirmed infections and 884 deaths between January 1 and November 2, 2025. The WHO report showed that Nigeria continues to account for the highest number of diphtheria cases in the African region. According to Médecins Sans Frontières, also known as Doctors Without Borders, announced that it has been scaling up its diphtheria emergency response in collaboration with several state ministries of health since August, due to a significant increase in diphtheria cases in Borno, Kano, and Bauchi. WHO highlighted that the outbreak overlaps with areas targeted by the Big Catch-up initiative. Challenges include delayed laboratory confirmation, poor infection prevention and control practices, limited information, education and communication materials, and vaccine shortages. It further said that discussions with Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, are ongoing to secure additional support. We move now to sports, where Arsenal have opened a 6-point lead at the top of the Premier League table with a 4-1 win over Tottenham Hotspur. The Gunners came into the North London derby knowing that both Manchester City and Liverpool had dropped points. Recall that Manchester City lost 2-1 at Newcastle United, while Liverpool nil by Nottingham Forest at Anfield. Leandro Trossard opened the scoring. Richie Eze slammed in a second. Eze scored immediately after the break before completing his hat trick to seal maximum points. Meanwhile, Arsenal now have 29 points, 6 more than Chelsea, who they are going to play next in the league. Still talking sports, Jude Bellingham scored one and assisted another as Real Madrid returned to the top of La Liga despite being held back into the net with 3 minutes remaining to rescue a point for Xabi Alonso's side, who had trailed twice at the Estadio Manuel Martinez Valero. Alex Febas had given mid-table Elche the lead 8 minutes into the second half, poking his shot past Real goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois and off the right-hand post. Meanwhile, former Bournemouth defender Dean Huijsen prodded home Bellingham's knockdown to restore parity 12 minutes from time, only for Alvaro Rodriguez to put the home side back in front with a low shot from the edge of the box. On our entertainment news, legendary Bollywood actor Dharmendra Krishan Deol has passed away in Mumbai at the age of 89, marking the end of a remarkable era in Indian cinema. Prime Minister Narendra Modi led the tributes on his X handle today, describing Dharmendra's death as the end of an era. Dharmendra, one of India's most beloved actors, enjoyed a 6-decade career spanning more than 300 films. Best known for his role as Viru in the 1975 classic Sholay, he was celebrated for his versatility, excelling in romance, action, comedy and drama. Born on December 8, 1935 in Punjab's Ludhiana district, Dharmendra rose from modest beginnings to become one of Bollywood's most admired stars. After winning a nationwide talent contest, he moved to Bombay and made his film debut in 1960. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on all our social media handles and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website spectrumtvlive.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News at 4. I am Ofonono Joseph. Good afternoon and Happy New Week.